Are you sick of always being busy and saying to yourself that you're busy, telling other people you're busy, to the point where you're just done being busy? This episode is going to be all about understanding why you say you're busy, that compulsive urge to explain to others that you're already busy, what that means to others and the way they perceive you and what they then believe about you as a result of you telling them you're busy, as well as what that means for your system and how it keeps you caught in fight or flight. My name's Jayne, the author of Burnout to Brilliance, and
I'm Dylan Cox from Balanceology.
And we're here today to share our top 3 tips on sussing out your busyness.
So tip number 1, Jayne.
So is to notice, what do you really mean when you say busy? So for every person it can be slightly different, and it depends really on what's going on with your internal drivers, those voices inside of you that either talk kindly to you or not so kindly to you, that have been there probably since you were a young child and you know very well, but you don't necessarily notice. So when you're saying I'm busy, what are you really saying to yourself? Are you saying hurry up? Are you saying do something better? Are you saying there's not enough time in the day? Is there a belief there that there's no rest for the wicked, or I must always be busy? Is there something inside of you that's keeping you stuck in busyness? Or are you saying I'm busy as a way of protecting your time? Sort of saying to other people, oh, don't bring me any more, I'm already busy, I've already got enough going on. And noticing then in that case where when you say you're busy, how that affects your system, how that triggers that fight or flight response, because that word busy does make us sort of fill with a feeling of panic, of rush, of anxiety, and that's not good for our systems. Or is busyness a badge of honour for you? Is it something that you feel you need to say to prove your worth, because you're maybe in your head thinking, well, if I'm not busy, then what am I doing? And if I'm doing something that isn't busy, does that mean I'm not being productive? Quite often there's a bit of a misconception that busy means productive. It doesn't always, does it? We can be busy doing lots of nothing. So work out, what do you really mean when you say I'm busy?
And tip number 2, Jayne.
So noticing then, when you say I'm busy, and whatever's behind that for you, is that really what you want to be telling yourself over and over again? What are you benefiting from by saying this to yourself all the time? What's the sort of the detrimental effects that that's bringing? As I say, if that's constantly firing that stress response in your body, if your body's in fight or flight and releasing cortisol and adrenaline through your body all of the time because you're staying in this hurried state where you're constantly running from one thing to the next, being busy, what's that toll that it's taking on you? You don't want to be telling yourself that all the time, right? So what do you want to tell yourself instead?
And finally, tip 3, please, Jayne.
Well, quite often we also need to recognise, for this to change for ourselves, it's not just about noticing how it will bring benefits to you by changing that mantra that's going on inside your head, but it's also the benefits it will bring to other people. So quite often we think that by saying we're busy, someone else will perceive us in a certain way, when actually they don't at all. We might think that they perceive us as, oh, she's important, she's getting things done, she's being productive, when actually, how can busyness be perceived by others? Like in your experience, when you see somebody that's constantly saying how busy they are, how do you actually feel in response to that?
It feels to me, if someone's always busy, that they are not giving enough time to somebody else. And is that busyness really helping them? It seems to be tying them up in knots a little bit and exhausting them. And what I really want from somebody who says that is to take a step back and be able to unravel that busyness and find out why they're busy, and give some more time to a relationship or other things that would be nourishing to them and not so draining, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking, in a work context, it can actually give the impression that you're not necessarily that well organised, although you think it might be the opposite. Because if you're constantly busy from one thing to the other without any pauses in between, it's like you haven't factored in any rest or recuperation. So you're just constantly running at a million miles per hour. That's not that in terms of a colleague with a colleague, or in terms of if that's somebody, if you're in a position of authority, and what message is that giving to the people that you're managing? It means that you're not giving permission then for them to have balance. they probably then feel that they can't take time for themselves because you might judge them for not being busy too. So by modelling in a managerial role, for example, what you're telling people that you want for them, you then actually give permission for them to do it. But if you're saying one thing and doing another, then people pick up on that. They know that. So noticing as well where that's playing out. And it's really about having a conversation with yourself to almost convince yourself that it's okay to slow down, that you don't have to buy into this cultural identity that we have at the moment, where everyone and everything is in a rush. Everyone is busy and everything needs to be done today, can't wait till tomorrow, that sort of feeling. You can step out of that, and when you step out of that, you change everything for those around you, for yourself and for everyone around you, and bigger ripple effects come from that. Entire organisations and the culture of organisations can change when we make that shift out of busyness and into balance.
Hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
If you'd like to find out more about the work Jayne and I do, please do head to our website, balanceology.uk. There you'll be able to find information about the courses that we are running and also our corporate offering as well. We also host a weekly podcast that comes out every Friday called The Art of Balance, where we do deeper dives into topics similar to those found in these videos for Psychology's Life Labs. You can find our podcast available on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you'd like to get in touch with us, drop us an email at hello@balanceology.uk and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Have a great day.